A male British rapper has broken a women's weightlifting record while identifying as a female to highlight what he calls the absurdity of claims there's no biological strength difference between men and women.
I keep hearing about how biological men don't have any physical strength advantage over women in 2019. So watch me destroy the British women's deadlift record without trying. P.S. I identified as a woman whilst lifting the weight. Don't be a bigot.
Zuby's viral tweet got over 1 million views and comes amid a backlash against the growing number of athletes identifying as female in women's events. British Olympic swimmer Sharon Davies tweeted that women's sport must be, quote, protected from people born as men. However, the world's first transgender world champion cyclist Rachel McKinnon hit back, insisting trans women athletes have no unfair advantage. Now, Olympic rules state men can participate as women without having surgery as long as they undergo hormone therapy to bring down testosterone levels. We're now joined live by the rapper behind the viral video, Zuby. Thank you for joining us. Now, why do you think your weightlifting record video went viral, and what have been some of the responses to it?
So I think the video went viral because in a very clear way it demonstrated the entire notion, it dispelled the entire notion that there is no inherent biological strength advantage that men have over women. I mean, that's something that we've known for thousands of years. It's the reason why men's and women's sports are segregated and always have been to maintain fairness. So I think the video went viral because it touched on a timely issue, and it was somewhat amusing and comical. People did find it funny, but underneath all that, I think it did bring light to important conversation that's happening all over the world right now.
And what kind of responses have you gotten to that video?
Wow, a lot of them. It's been difficult to keep up with it. I mean, as you said, it's had over 1 million views now and thousands of comments from all over the world. I would say that 99% of them have been very positive. Lots of people have found it amusing. A lot of women actually have reached out to thank me for voicing up about the issue and demonstrating what the actual reality is. And there's been a very tiny amount of negative backlash. I'd say out of the thousands of comments, I would say less than 20 of them have been negative.
This is, of course, a very touchy subject. Has anyone accused you of insulting transgender athletes? And if so, how would you respond to that?
Well, according to their own logic, they have no proof that I myself did not identify as a woman whilst doing that video. So by their own logic, I could easily accuse them of being transphobic or being bigoted by claiming that I, in fact, was not a woman at the time that video was recorded, because they have no proof of that. They've said that one can self-identify as whatever they want, and they, therefore, the onus of proof that I identified as a man whilst doing that, the burden of proof is actually on them.
Do you see a problem with the current Olympic rules on transgender athletes, that they just have to prove that a year before that their testosterone levels were under a certain level?
Absolutely, because testosterone is not the only difference that gives men a physical advantage over women, especially in strength and speed. There are other factors as well. If someone's gone through puberty as a male, you're likely to be considerably taller, especially at the extreme ends. You're going to have a different bone structure. You're going to have bigger hands, your entire musculoskeletal system will still remain that of a man. So if I were to take some hormone blockers and suppress my testosterone levels for 12 months, I'd still have considerable physical advantages over someone who's been a woman for their entire life. So it's not just as simple as the testosterone levels.
So in your opinion, is it ever possible for a transgender woman to be physically equal to a biological woman?
No, because the DNA and every chromosome in that person's body is still male. And as I said, if they've gone through puberty as a male, as a biological male, there still will be inherent differences. So I have nothing against. I don't think anybody in this debate has anything against any individuals or groups. It's merely about maintaining fairness and not distorting reality in a way that could actually be very harmful and perhaps even, could actually ruin women's sport if it's let to go to its full conclusion, really.
Opponents of having transgender people competing in women's sport have suggested creating a separate competition for transgender women or men, as it may be. Is that transphobic then?
Having an additional league? No, not at all. That would actually be potentially fair. I don't know if there are enough athletes for that to be a practical idea. In reality, I don't know what the numbers are, but that would certainly be fairer than having those people competing against biological women. If that does happen, then after a certain amount of time, it would actually lead to all of the world records, all of the champions being biological men, if it's as simple as self-identification and a little bit of hormone suppression. I mean, that's not enough. You can't level the playing field because the biological differences remain.
I'd say it's fair to say that you've come at this with a bit of a tongue-in-cheek approach to this topic, but would you say it's a bit of a social taboo to talk about these sort of issues?
It might be, but I will be honest and say I don't really care about that. I'm very much a truth speaker and a truth seeker. I value being honest. I value being as objective as possible. The goal is not to hurt anybody's feelings. I think some people like to pretend to be offended to try to shut down debate or to not listen to other arguments. It's a very common tactic that people use. And I know what my intentions are. The intentions are good. And as I said, I think the way people responded to it, I think the vast majority of people understand what I'm saying, and I think people are grateful that I did it and provided them with some entertainment in the process.
Full-time independent rapper and creative entrepreneur Zuby, thank you so much for joining us on the program.